NCAA championships just finished off. Amazing performances across the board. I gave you my predictions previously. I got some things right, but I got some things wrong, right? I know some people in the comments definitely got some things right and something wrong. Definitely shout out to everyone who, gave their predictions and gave their thoughts. But let's recap this meet both on the men's and the women's side that went down in Austin, Texas at the University of Texas. First off, men's 4x1. Now, this was all over the place, but Texas Tech originally got the win here, almost breaking the NCAA record. They ran 37.94 seconds. They were very, very close to that NCAA record and a good amount ahead of LSU and Florida, who came in second and third. But later on, it was determined that Texas Tech had unfortunately passed outside the zone on their first exchange. If you look at that exchange, you're going to see the second leg runner actually have to slow down a bit as they ended up passing outside that zone. So LSU was eventually given the title, given the win in that 4x1. They're the NCAA record holders already, and then Florida got second place. So this was an overall good kind of mixed result to start off the meet, but Texas Tech, they had a little bit of comeback. Let's talk about that men's 100-meter dash. Now, this was an insane competition. We saw a lot of guys really throw down in the prelims, right? PJ Austin, 9.89 seconds in the prelims. We saw a plethora of guys running in the semifinals and the heats. When you're talking about the semifinals in the 100-meter dash, 10.04 seconds did not make the final. That is absolutely insane. 5 guys ran sub 10 to make it to the final. And then in that final, out of nowhere, from the outside lane, Courtney Lindsay from Texas Tech, 9.89 seconds, a personal best to get the NCAA title in that 100-meter dash. But right behind him, Godson Brume from LSU, second place, 9.90 seconds. Sean Masongwani, right? He's been dominating for a couple years, on the cusp in a sense, right? 9.91 seconds. The top 3 were separated by 0.02 of a second. 7 guys, sub 10 seconds. This race was absolutely insane. I love this men's 100-meter dash, and this was a really, this kind of lived up to the hype. All the drama, all the up and downs, all the fast times. I loved this 100-meter dash, and this definitely showed that Texas Tech was coming out for blood. They were coming out. They were like, nah, we lost that 4x1. Let's put these things back on the map. Let's talk about that men's 200-meter dash. We're jumping all over the place. Udodi Onwuzurike. In the semifinals, he blazed it out the blocks, running 19.76 seconds, which is the 3rd fastest time in NCAA history. But then behind him, a plethora of other guys were going crazy in those semifinals, right? Courtney Lindsay, 19.88, right? Tarsus Orgot, 19.94. You had guys running sub 20 like it was nothing. Top 6 guys ran sub 20 in the semifinals, and 20.25 did not make the 200-meter final. Well, in that 200-meter final, these were still crazy times. We had Udodi Onwuzurike come out for the win in 19.84 seconds. Amazing performance for Onwuzurike to kind of back up what he was doing leading into the NCAA championships at regionals, what he did in the semifinals, and now to get the win for Stanford, right? We don't really know Stanford as a sprint school at all, but regardless, Stanford put on the map with Udodi Onwuzurike, Courtney Lindsay, and Terrence Jones of Texas Tech. I told you, they were kind of salty from that 4x1 getting DQ'd. They came up for second and third place, both running personal bests of 19.86 and 19.87 respectively. So we're talking about what, 0.03 of a second separating the top 3. This is absolutely insane. And then Robert Gregory for 4th place as well. Robert Gregory, 19.89 seconds. So 0.05 of a second separating the top 4. This 200 meters was absolutely insane. I loved the 100. I loved the 200. Both of these were insane coming off the 100-meter dash. What about that 400? Well, the 400 also kind of lived up to hype. I think we had some expectations, maybe sub 44, but this was an amazing race as well. We saw Emmanuel Bamidele going up against his teammate Ryan Willie. Willie was probably the favorite entering the meet, but Bamidele managed to get the win in 44.24 seconds, literally on the last, lean at the tape, right? Ryan Willie came up for second in 44.25. So Florida went 1-2, but I don't think many thought Bamidele would be able to get the win. I think a lot of people were looking to see if Ryan Willie would go sub 44, but regardless, amazing performances. Personal best for both of these guys, going 1-2 for Florida, and then Emmanuel Byam from Tennessee, another personal best, 44.49 seconds. Amazing race for him. And then the 4th personal best, Justin Robinson, 44.51 seconds. So I thought he was actually kind of out of the race, right? With about 100 or 75 meters to go, he was really not in it. He managed to come away. Look at the field in this men's 400-meter dash. You're talking about 3 guys from Florida and then 3 guys from Arizona State. Well, guess what this preluded? The men's 4x4. 4x4, now, there were so many sub 3 minutes in the semifinals that I didn't know what was going to go down. Florida, who already had the NCAA record, they ran 2:58.62 in the semifinals, one of the fastest times in history. And then you had Arizona State, Alabama, UCLA, Clemson. They were all sub 3 minutes in the semis. I really thought we were going to see, 6, 7 teams maybe go sub 3 minutes in the final. Well, that didn't happen. It was a slightly slower in terms of the overall scope, but we still had a huge race. Remember, 3 guys from Florida in the finals of the 400, 3 guys from Arizona State. This really showed why those guys were able to do that. Florida, NCAA record of 2 minutes 57.74 seconds, just a tick below their previous record of 2 minutes 57.76. But Arizona State was on their heels the entire time. They managed to run 2 minutes 57.78 seconds. Entering this competition, Arizona State had never broken 3 minutes, and now they're running 2:57. We're talking about times that could win medals at the World Championships and Olympic Games. These teams were killing it. UCLA came up for 3rd place, 2 minutes 59.82 of good. Again, I was probably expecting like 2:56 the way that everyone was running, but based on everything, I cannot be disappointed. This was an amazing competition. 2 NCAA teams running, sub 2:58. This is insane. I loved the men's 4x4. On the women's side, let's start off with Julian Alfred. 100, 200, 4x100 triple, gold, wins in all 3 of them. First off, on the semifinals, Texas actually broke the NCAA record in the 4x1, 41.55 seconds. That performance is absolutely insane in the fact that it would have won, I think, every single Olympic Games prior to 2012. If you look back to the 2012 Olympics where the USA broke the world record, Jamaica finished 2nd, Texas team would have actually been super close to the Jamaican women team. So this was an amazing performance. They came back in the final and they ran 41.60 seconds. It was a foregone conclusion that they were going to win there. Julian Alfred backed that up and followed it up in the 100-meter dash. 10.72 seconds would have been the NCAA record, but just slightly over the allowable 2.3 meters per second. So unfortunately didn't get the record, but that pretty much just solidifies her as arguably, if not the greatest NCAA sprinter in history. I mean, of course, there's tons and tons of sprinters when you go throughout history, but Julian Alfred is definitely up there considering what she did indoors in the 60 and the 200, as well as outdoors here in the 100, as well as in the 200. She managed to get the win in the 200 meters as well, 21.73 seconds. Unfortunately, just over the allowable limit, 2.5 meters per second for the win. So it was unfortunately not the records, but these performances were absolutely insane from Julian Alfred. Of course, huge shout out to the other woman who finished behind her, right? In that 200, Mackenzie Long, 2nd place in 21.88. And then you had Kavona Davis, 22.02 seconds. In the 100, we had Kennedy Blackman come up for 2nd, 10.87, while Jason Spears managed to run 10.94 seconds. So amazing performances across the board. Julian Alfred, triple threat. She's going to be a serious threat when we get to the World Championships later on this summer in Budapest. Now, we have to talk about Britton Wilson, 400 meter hurdles double. This was a very, very tough task. That schedule only allowed for 20-30 minutes between the 400 and the 400 hurdles. First in that 400, she was the favorite going in, but then we saw a huge upset. A little bit huge upset, but I told y'all to look out for her. Rashida Adeleke from Texas came away with the win. They battled it out from the 300 meters, and then about 325, 350, Adeleke just pulled away, came away with that win, 49.20 seconds, not too far off that NCAA record that Britton Wilson has of 49.13. But it was very windy there. I actually think Adeleke could have got a little bit closer if the wind wasn't too crazy, but Britton Wilson came up for 2nd, 49.64 seconds, still one of her fastest performances ever. This kind of did lead as a precursor to what was going to happen in the 400 meter hurdles, but Adeleke, again, 49.20 seconds. She only started running the 400, I think, last year, right? In the middle of the spring last year. She went on to the World Championships, I think finished just outside of the finals, finished 9th place overall, missing the final. But then she went on to the European Championships, finished 5th place overall, running out of lane 1. I think Adeleke is going to be a huge problem in the 400, and she is in the medal conversation, right? Again, she just missed making the final last year. Now she's over a full second faster than she was. She is very much in the conversation to win a medal at the World Championships. Now, let's talk about Britton Wilson in the 400 meter hurdles. Again, 2nd place in this 400. You can tell that she was a little fatigued. You can tell that, going into 400 hurdles is going to be very tough. Only 20 minutes later, she got to the start line, she took off, and you can see from the first, 20, 30 meters, she was not in this race and she was struggling. She unfortunately only finished 7th place, 55.92 seconds. She was devastated after the race. I really honestly kind of felt bad, just considering, she really wanted to do well. She's a once in a generation talent, but she unfortunately wasn't able to perform. And this schedule was insane, right? Just seeing someone run a 400 and then a 400 meter hurdles, that was going to be insane. But huge kudos to Britton Wilson for actually even attempting it. The winner though in that 400 meter hurdles, Savannah Sutherland, 54.45 seconds. This was a huge personal best for her to come away with the win. A pretty strong win. Masai Russell coming up for second in 54.66. So she actually gets double second. We'll talk about the 100 meter hurdles in a moment. Actually, all top 6 women actually got personal best in this race. So the performances here, despite Wilson faltering, were insane across the board. Huge shout out to these 400 meter hurdle women. Like I noted, Masai Russell, she got second place in the 400 meter hurdles. She actually got second place a little bit earlier in the meet as well. Those 100 meter hurdles didn't go as expected. Now, we knew that Akira Nugent, Aaliyah Armstrong, and Masai Russell were the big top 3 coming into this competition and coming into this final. Akira Nugent pulled off the win, 12.25 seconds. This would have been one of the fastest times in the history of the event, but it was very, very much wind aided, plus 3.8 meters per second. So despite that, it's actually the 6th fastest all conditions performance in the 100 meter hurdles. And I really think this bodes well for Akira Nugent. We saw her win the indoor championship title in the 60 meter hurdles. Now she wins the outdoor title in the 100 meter hurdles. Going outdoors, of course, you have Toby Amisan, you have Jasmine Camacho Quinn, Kenny Harrison, you have a plethora of different women, but Akira Nugent is probably entering herself into that conversation. She is very likely going to be at the World Championships if she qualifies at Jamaican Trials next month. And then who knows from there, right? Aaliyah Armstrong, she actually finished 4th place at the World Championships last year. So it's not too far-fetched for a college athlete to get to World Championships and be in the conversation. Masai Russell finished 2nd place, 12.32 seconds. Again, it was all windy, so the times didn't count. And then Aaliyah Armstrong, she unfortunately hit a hurdle really, really bad, and that threw her off, 12.49 seconds. I should also note that Masai Russell hit the hurdle number 2, and that also threw her off. So for her to be able to come back, make that up, really amazing performances for all these ladies in the 100 meter hurdles. Quick shout out to the 4x4. Now Texas, they unfortunately had a little hiccup in the semifinals. Not a little hiccup, that was kind of a weird hiccup, but they didn't qualify to the final. And of course, Britton Wilson wasn't running, but Arkansas still managed to comfortably take the win in the 4x4 in 3:24. Arkansas went 2 through 4, I think, in the 400 meters. So they really have a deep squad of 400 meter runners and got that 4x4 title. Also, a huge shout out to the women's long jump and the triple jump. The long jump happened first, and Akila Smith kind of pulled the upset, but a lot of people were saying that she could win, and she got the win here. 6.88 meters to take the win in that long jump. Alyssa Jones actually came up for second with 6.86 meters, so not too far off the win. But Jasmine Moore, who in my opinion was the clear favorite, in a lot of people's opinion, thought she was going to break the NCAA record, but she came up for 3rd place, 6.66 meters, so a little bit underperformance there. But talk about the triple jump. In that triple jump, Jasmine Moore redeemed herself. NCAA record of 14.78 meters, breaking the NCAA record by Katora Orji, which she set back in 2018. So Moore doubles back, retains her title from not only last year outdoors, but then also indoors as well. Gets a little redemption after finishing 3rd place in that long jump. But Akila Smith was not too far behind. She also got a huge personal best, jumping 14.54 meters in that triple jump for 2nd place. Huge shout out to Akila Smith. She also has a very bright future. Jasmine Moore, she is the future for the United States when we're talking about the long and the triple jump. So let's jump on those hurdles, right? The hurdles, little mixed kind of bag when we're talking about the hurdles. Not too many clear favorites, but in the men's 100 meter hurdles, we had Philip Lemonius from Arkansas. He got the win in 13:24. Nothing too crazy, but I did like how close the competition was, right? Devon Wilson came up for 2nd place, 13.26, and Jaheim Hales came up for 3rd in 13.28. And Ojora from USC came up in 13.29. So I love the closeness of this. Really great competition overall. When you're talking about the 400 meter hurdles, this kind of turned out to be a surprise. Now, Aiden Owens-Delerme from Arkansas, he was probably the edge-on favorite to get the win here, but he unfortunately didn't even qualify out of the semifinals. You also had Sean Burrell from LSU, the 2-time defending champion. He didn't even qualify to get into the finals. So this was a real shock, but we did see Chris Robinson from Alabama. He got the win here in a personal best of 48.12 seconds. His teammate Corday Long came up for 2nd place in 48.53 1.53 seconds. So both those guys getting personal best, amazing performances from them. And then we got the triple jump. Now, this was kind of an interesting competition. Jaden Hibbert, he had already broken the NCAA record outdoors. I think it was at SEC championships, jumping 17.87 meters. He came up for the win here. Very, very easy win. I think on his first jump, he jumped 17.56 meters. No one was going to jump as far as him. After that, the question was, how far is he going to go? Is he going to get 18 meters? Now, he did jump 17.3 meters on his second attempt, and on his fourth attempt, he unfortunately ran through. He looked like he picked up a little bit of an injury. Afterwards, he said that he wasn't injured, maybe just a little bit of cramp or something, and he's looking forward to Budapest. So I'm looking forward to seeing what Jaden Hibbert is going to do, getting the win here at NCAA's. Only a freshman, but is he even going to stay in the NCAA, right? Maybe he's going to go pro. He competes for Jamaica. Could be a good opportunity. He's already jumping close to 18 meters. Jaden Hibbert, he is definitely the future when we're talking about the triple jump. He could very well medal in Budapest this year. So amazing performances overall at these NCAA championships throughout the entire week, from Wednesday in the semifinals now to Saturday with the finals. Let me know in the comments below what you think was your favorite performance and what was a top performance both on the men's and the women's side at these NCAA championships. And do you think that any of these athletes are going to go on to do really well, whether it's at USA championships next month or even the world championships in August in Budapest? Make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel. We'll be back again next time. Thanks for watching.